spirituality is easy when you're not tested. We all know that part of the spiritual journey is to come from a place of unconditional love, to love everyone and everything despite what they're doing or what's happening. Yeah, okay, we have the theory, we know that. We know that we should feel compassionate towards everyone and everything. We know that we should always be grateful. But how easy is this to actually put into practice? Life is going to test the crap out of you when you're on a spiritual journey, because many people who are on a spiritual path think that it's all love and light, it's all fun and games, that everything's easy. And you know what? It can be easy. It can be easy when you're giving love to your family or your friends, or even showing compassion to homeless people or people who haven't done any wrong to you. But how do you feel when someone comes into your life and they just want to tear it down for no reason? How do you feel when people are abusive to you, when they act in ways that hurt you unprovoked, unprompted? And these are the real tests of spirituality. So it doesn't matter how you respond or behave or feel towards your family members or your friends or the people that you care about. What really matters is how you respond and how you genuinely feel towards people who are doing wrong to you. This is when the universe is actually testing you, because the universe wants to see how congruent you are with this message. It wants to see whether you are integral to these teachings of unconditional love, or whether you are just preaching shit and you aren't actually integral to it. There will be people that come into your life and they will stir up all sorts of emotions. They will hurt you in ways that you have never felt before. And this is when the universe is saying, okay, let's see if you are true to your word. Let's see if you can actually put all of this spiritual theory into practice and love the people that hurt you. And here's the thing, that love must be genuine. You can't pretend to love people that you hate, because you're just going to store in all these emotions and these energies and these sensations, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it. Because when people do this and they put on a mask and they pretend that they are all love and light and that everything's perfect and the world is perfect and all of that bullcrap that you hear in these spiritual communities, that is often a mask, and they might get triggered, they might get hurt, and they just sort of swallow it and they'll pretend to love people. But that's not what you should go for if you are on a spiritual journey and you're trying to better yourself, because one of the main core ingredients of your spiritual path should be authenticity. Authenticity is so important, because without being authentic or without being genuine, you can't see your dysfunctions. You can't see yourself for who you really are and the areas that you need to improve. Because if you're just pretending to be perfect all the time, how are you going to know what to improve on? If you don't know what to improve on, how are you going to improve? And if you don't improve, then how are you going to get to these higher states of happiness and higher states of love that are actually genuine? Because you need to go through a lot of painful emotions and a lot of shadow work and a lot of shit, a lot of lessons in life, to really get to the state where you do genuinely feel more happiness and you feel more love. And this is the real spiritual practice. This is putting spirituality into action and not just pretending, because you need to walk the talk if you're on a spiritual journey. You need to actually come from a place of understanding and seeing the humanness in people. And this is what it's about. It's about seeing the humanness in people. Do you see that it's coming from their narrative and not yours? But of course, again, this is just spiritual theory. It doesn't really mean anything unless you're putting it into practice. So how do you actually feel when people attack you or people try and put you down or hurt you? And how long do you hold on to the resentment or the pain or the suffering when someone does something to you? When someone hurts you and you heal from it, then there won't be any negative energy there anymore. And you can know by thinking back into your past, to thinking about people who hurt you the most, whether you were a child, whether maybe you had a bad connection with a family member and they did something to you, whether it was a boss at a workplace or someone just did something really bad to you that caused you a lot of trauma. Think back to that now and see what emotions start to come up. Because if painful emotions start to come up, whether they are of resentment or shame or guilt, then it means you haven't cleared that connection with that person. It means you are still hurting and there is still bad energy there. So the best way to actually love unconditionally is to heal and get good at healing and get good at going through the emotions, because it's not about pretending that nothing hurts you. If someone tries to pick a fight with you or they say some nasty things, okay, maybe you're not a sensitive person and you just don't care and you can still love them. But for most people, it will leave a bad taste in your mouth. So what you need to do is get good at just processing those emotions, realizing that this is coming from someone else's narrative, that this is the universe coming through in someone else to teach you a lesson, rather than taking it personally and seeing that, oh, this is just someone that wants to attack me. Try and see it in a way that it's the universe working through this person to test you, and then process the emotions, heal from the pain that it caused you. And once you actually process that and heal from that, you will probably want the best for that person, even if they were an asshole to you. You cannot feel from a place of love for these people while you are still hurting. This is why you need to actually do the healing, and you need to work through these emotions that you're feeling, or these triggers, or whatever's come up. And once you heal that, you might be able to think to this person and actually feel compassion. You might feel love. You might feel gratitude. You might say, thank you for hurting me, because this was a good lesson. This showed me that I still have some demons that I need to work through. You might say, I feel for you. I feel for you being in this state where you are hurting people, because it can't be a good state of consciousness to be in. But again, it needs to be genuine. And it can only be genuine once you actually heal from those events, or you heal from whatever that person did to you. And then you can actually think back and feel good about them. When you think about that person, there should be a positive energy. You should feel some sort of positive thing radiating from you, rather than resentment, rather than shame, rather than guilt or anger or frustration. Because if you feel any of these negative emotions chipping away at you, then that means that there is still bad energy, and you won't be able to come from a place of unconditional love. Every time something comes up, something that's negative or unpleasant to experience, you need to reflect on it. You need to go inwards to these emotions and really feel it and really figure it out. Because as long as we have this baggage on us because we haven't processed it or healed it, then we're not going to be able to feel love. We might be able to feel it towards other people or towards our family, but we're not going to be able to feel it towards the people that hurt us, towards the people that are assholes, towards the people that are trying to take you down. So think about your triggers and what actually hurts you the most when someone does something, and what provokes the strongest emotional reaction in a negative way, or in a way that hurts you, is not desirable to experience. Because these are your wounds. Your triggers are indicators that there is a soft spot there. And when someone starts poking into that soft spot, they're actually helping you. I know it feels like it sucks. It doesn't feel good when they do it, when they rub you the wrong way. But they're actually illuminating that there is a sore there that hasn't healed over. And if you start reflecting on that, you start meditating on that, you start really looking into why you have this strong emotional reaction when someone does this particular thing or this action or behavior, then that is where you can start healing. That is where you can actually find these spots, the blind spots, that you haven't seen before along your personal growth journey, and start doing the work to heal those spots. So the more you do this, the more you will first not get triggered in the ways that you once did. You might find that later on down the track, it might be months or years, someone will do the same thing and you won't really care. Like, you won't have a negative reaction to it, you won't try and fight back, you won't try and hurt the other person back, because they're not hurting you anymore. You're sort of like a rock, and you say, well, I know you're trying to hurt me, and maybe that doesn't feel good, but at the same time, like, I wish you well, like, genuinely I wish you well, and I hope you're healing, and I hope you have a good life. So can you say that to the people that trigger you? I hope you have a good life. I hope you heal. Maybe don't say that to them because it's condescending, but to actually think it to yourself and say, I hope you heal. I hope you have a good life. I genuinely love you. This is the happiest way to live, without baggage, without holding on to resentment, by coming from a place which we might not be there yet, but in the future, hopefully, where we see the bigger picture of the universe, of people, and we don't get caught into our ego or our lower self or these painful emotions, where we can genuinely feel love towards people who are doing harm to you. This is the test. This is the true test, and it's not easy. And believe me, I haven't figured it out. People still trigger me all the time. But I have gotten better at it. I've gotten better at not taking things personally and seeing it from a higher perspective when someone is attacking me, or someone's just trying to put me down for whatever reason or make me feel a certain way. And it is a practice. So you practice reflecting, you practice going into the emotions, and it's not about being invincible and not feeling the pain at all, because again, it's natural. It's natural to experience some form of pain. But you can get very good and very quick at healing whatever you feel. You can become more resistant to it, and you can genuinely come from a place where you feel more love towards these people despite what they are doing. You need to be genuine with these feelings, and you need to acknowledge your process. You need to acknowledge when something hurts you, or when you might be feeling resentment or anger or even hatred towards someone, because if you don't look at it and you don't illuminate it, then how are you going to diagnose that there's actually a problem and that you are not at your best? So you need to take off that mask and really actually dig into these emotions and figure out why you are feeling such a strong emotional response to certain people or to certain actions or behaviors, and go inwards to diffuse that. You don't want to take this baggage into the future with you. Your future self does not deserve the crap that you're holding on to now. It is your job now to start doing the work to release any resentment, to forgive the people who have hurt you in the past. So do yourself a favor and start healing, start processing, and then consciously choose to forgive. And keep drilling it in. If it doesn't work on the first time, keep saying, I want to forgive, I want to forgive, I want to love, I want to feel compassion, I want to feel understanding, I want to feel what this person was going through when they treated me this way. This is your responsibility, and the universe, in one way or another, will continue sending you message after message after message, asshole after asshole after asshole, until you start to not take it so personally and see it in a way that this is the universe testing you through people. It has nothing to do with them. See if you can actually genuinely thank them. When someone hurts you, take a moment for yourself, process it, and say, thank you, genuinely, thank you. Thank you for coming into my life and teaching me this lesson, because that's exactly what I need along my spiritual journey to level up. So thank people for hurting you. Thank the assholes. Learn to open your heart, don't close it, and try and love the people who have wronged you. Try to love the people in your past. Try to see the humanness in everyone, and that maybe you would do the same thing if you were in their situation. But you'll never know that, because you're a very different person in a very different situation with a very different mind. So you can't possibly know what they're going through and why people might act this way. But maybe you can see the bigger picture behind it and learn to not take it so personally.